You've been told this your entire life. Walk more. Get your steps in. 10,000 steps a day and you'll stay healthy, strong, independent. Doctors say it during routine checkups. TV commercials repeat it endlessly. Fitness trackers celebrate it with little fireworks on your wrist. Even your own family reminds you, sometimes with concern, sometimes with pressure, every time you sit down for too long. And for decades, that advice sounded logical. Walking is simple, accessible, and it feels productive. You're moving, you're breathing, you're doing something good for yourself. But here's the uncomfortable truth that most people over 60 never hear clearly, and almost no one explains properly. Walking alone is no longer enough to protect your body. And in many cases, it's not even the most important thing you should be doing anymore. This is not because walking suddenly became bad. It didn't. Walking is still excellent for cardiovascular health, mood, and circulation. But the body you have after 60 is not the body you had at 30 or 40, and it does not respond to movement in the same way. What actually threatens your independence now is not your heart failing to pump. It's your muscles failing to support you. It's your bones becoming fragile. It's your balance quietly deteriorating until one small misstep changes everything. And walking, despite how often it's prescribed, barely challenges the systems that are most at risk at this stage of life. After the age of 60, your body changes in a very specific and predictable way. Muscle loss accelerates. Balance declines. Bone density drops. These changes don't announce themselves loudly. They creep in slowly. Movements that once felt automatic, standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, stepping into a car, begin to require more effort. You may not notice it at first. You just feel a little slower, a little less steady. Walking still feels doable, even comfortable, so it gives you the illusion that everything is fine. But underneath that comfort, the muscles responsible for power, stability, and protection are being underused. Walking feels productive, and it is good for your heart, but it barely challenges the muscles that actually keep you independent. When you walk on flat ground, your body operates on autopilot. The resistance is minimal. Your legs are not forced to push against gravity in a meaningful way. Your muscles are not asked to get stronger, only to repeat what they already know how to do. Orthopedic surgeons have known this for years. So have physical therapists who spend their careers helping people recover after falls, fractures, and joint replacements. They see the same pattern again and again. Patients who walked a lot but never trained their muscles struggle far more than patients who maintained strength, even if they were less active overall. And recently, the research has finally caught up with what these professionals have observed for decades. Multiple studies over the past few years have shown that older adults who perform targeted seated strength movements outperform walkers in functional strength, stability, and even recovery after surgery. They stand up faster. They fall less often. They heal better. And perhaps most importantly, they maintain confidence in their own bodies, which is something walking alone often fails to preserve. This is not about abandoning walking. It's about understanding its limits. Walking keeps you alive. Strength keeps you independent. And if you lose independence, quality of life collapses quickly. Simple tasks become exhausting. Fear creeps in. Choices shrink. That's why today, I'm going to walk you through the exact chair-based exercise strategy surgeons quietly recommend to their own patients over 60. These are not extreme workouts. They are controlled, safe, and realistic movements that directly protect your ability to live life on your terms. And stay with me until the end, because the final movement on this list is so powerful that your ability to do it accurately predicts longevity better than many medical tests doctors rely on today. Here's the problem nobody explains clearly, and it's one of the most damaging misunderstandings in modern health advice. After the age of 30, the human body begins losing muscle mass at a slow but steady rate. It's subtle at first, so subtle that most people don't notice it happening. You still feel capable. You still move normally. But decade after decade, that loss adds up. Then, after 60, the process accelerates sharply. Muscle loss speeds up, strength drops faster, and recovery slows down. This process is called sarcopenia, and despite how technical the name sounds, it's not rare at all. It's universal. It happens to everyone unless you actively fight it. The key word here is actively. Muscle is expensive tissue for the body to maintain. If your nervous system decides you don't need it, your body gets rid of it. Walking, unfortunately, sends the signal that you don't need much muscle. When you walk on flat ground, your muscles are barely challenged. There is no meaningful resistance. Your legs are doing what they've already learned to do thousands of times before. Your body adapts only to the demands placed upon it. If the demand is low, your muscles shrink. If the demand is high enough, they stay strong or even grow. It's not personal. It's biology. And biology doesn't respond to intentions, only to stimulus. This explains a pattern you've probably noticed but maybe never fully understood. You see people who walk every single day, sometimes for years, and yet they struggle to stand up from a chair. They avoid stairs when they can. They feel unsteady when turning quickly or stepping onto uneven ground. Their heart may be healthy. Their step count may look impressive. But their muscles are undertrained for the tasks that actually matter in daily life. Walking trains you to walk. It does not train you to rise, stabilize, or resist gravity. And muscles are not just about strength in the way most people think of it. They are protective tissue. Strong muscles absorb shock so your joints don't have to. They stabilize your body when you lose balance for a split second. They keep your bones under healthy stress so your skeleton stays dense and resilient. Without enough muscle, your joints take more wear, your balance becomes fragile, and your bones weaken faster. This is why even a small fall can become life-altering after 60. It's not the fall itself. It's the lack of muscular protection when it happens. Research from major medical institutions has made this painfully clear. Older adults who rely only on walking continue to lose muscle and bone density year after year. In contrast, those who perform targeted resistance movements, even while seated, gain strength, improve circulation, and dramatically reduce their risk of falls. The difference is not subtle. It shows up in how easily they move, how confidently they live, and how well they recover when something goes wrong. The irony is that many of these exercises don't look impressive at all. They don't involve heavy weights. They don't leave you gasping for air. They don't look like what people imagine real exercise should look like. But they do something far more important. They send a clear message to your nervous system and musculoskeletal system that says, we still need this tissue. Keep it, strengthen it, protect it. That signal is what stops decline. And here's the most important part for many people over 60. Chair-based strength exercises remove fear. There is no impact, no jumping, no complicated choreography to memorize, no gym full of mirrors and strangers, no embarrassment, just controlled, deliberate movement in a stable position that feels safe. And those movements translate directly to real life. Standing up, sitting down, stepping forward, staying balanced. This is strength with a purpose. That's why chair-based training works so well at this stage of life. It meets your body where it is, not where it used to be. And it gives you back the abilities that matter most. Let's start with the foundation. The first critical area most people neglect is the lower legs and thighs, and this neglect quietly creates a chain reaction of problems that many people mistake for just getting older. Strong calves do far more than help you walk. They act like powerful pumps, pushing blood from your feet and lower legs back toward your heart every time they contract. This process supports circulation, reduces swelling, and prevents that heavy, tired feeling in the legs that so many adults over 60 experience by the end of the day. When the calves weaken, blood tends to pool in the lower extremities. Ankles swell. Legs feel stiff and achy. Balance becomes less reliable. And yet, calves are rarely trained directly. Seated calf raises may look insignificant at first glance, almost too simple to matter, but they are one of the most effective ways to restore this pumping function. Sitting tall in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, you press through the balls of your feet and lift your heels as high as you can. At the top, you pause and squeeze, really feeling the muscles in the back of your lower legs contract. Then you lower your heels slowly back to the floor. That slow lowering phase is where strength is built. It forces the muscle to control the movement against gravity, which sends a powerful signal to stay strong. Performed daily, even for a few minutes, this movement can dramatically improve circulation and ankle stability. Many people notice their legs feel lighter, warmer, and more responsive within just a few weeks. Next comes the muscle group that determines whether you can stand up without help, your quadriceps. These large muscles on the front of your thighs are responsible for straightening your knees and lifting your body upward. They are essential for standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, getting out of a car, and rising from the toilet. Unfortunately, they also deteriorate faster than almost any other muscle group after 60. Walking barely activates them, especially on flat surfaces, because your knees never have to work against real resistance. Seated knee extensions change that completely. When you sit upright and straighten one leg out in front of you, you are forcing your thigh to lift your lower leg against gravity. Holding that position for a few seconds while intentionally squeezing the muscle rebuilds the exact strength required for daily life. This is not gym strength. This is real-world strength. This is toilet strength, car strength, chair strength. Lowering the leg slowly back down adds even more benefit by strengthening the muscle through its full range of motion. Over time, this exercise restores confidence in your legs, making everyday movements feel safer and more controlled. Then there are the hip flexors, the hidden drivers of safe walking that almost no one talks about. These muscles lift your thigh toward your chest every time you take a step. When they weaken, your gait changes. You begin to shuffle instead of step. Your feet barely clear the ground. This is why so many falls happen on perfectly flat surfaces. Weak hip flexors cause shuffling. Shuffling causes trips. Trips cause falls. Seated hip marches retrain your ability to lift your legs properly. Sitting tall near the edge of a chair, you slowly raise one knee at a time toward your chest, then lower it under control. This movement forces your core and hips to work together. It strengthens the muscles that lift your legs and challenges your balance in a safe, controlled position. The slower you move, the more effective it becomes. This is where balance, coordination, and strength meet. By this point, you may notice something important. None of these movements require standing. None of them involve impact. None of them place stress on your joints. And yet, they rebuild the exact abilities most seniors fear losing. Standing up confidently. Walking without shuffling. Feeling steady on your feet. This is the foundation of independence, rebuilt one controlled movement at a time. Now let's address something walking completely ignores, and yet something that quietly determines how old you look, how well you breathe, and how safe you are on your feet. Your back. Nearly everything you do in daily life depends on pulling strength. Opening doors, pulling yourself up from bed, reaching for objects, carrying groceries, even something as simple as pulling a shirt over your shoulders all rely on the muscles of your upper and middle back. These muscles work behind the scenes, and because they are not as visible as arms or legs, they are often forgotten. But when they weaken, the consequences show up everywhere. Weak back muscles lead to rounded shoulders, a forward head position, and a progressively hunched spine. This posture change is so common that many people assume it's just a normal part of aging. It's not. It's a strength problem. And it's a dangerous one. A hunched posture doesn't just make you look older. It physically compresses your chest cavity, reducing how much your lungs can expand with each breath. Over time, breathing becomes shallower and less efficient. You may feel winded more easily, even during simple activities, and you may not understand why. At the same time, poor posture shifts your center of gravity forward. Your head moves in front of your shoulders. Your upper body leans ahead of your hips. This subtle change dramatically increases fall risk because your balance system is constantly trying to compensate. Your neck and shoulders tighten to hold your head up. Your lower back works overtime to keep you upright. Pain develops, especially in the neck, shoulders, and upper back. And yet, walking does absolutely nothing to correct this. When you walk, your arms swing passively. There is no pulling, no resistance, no signal telling your back muscles to stay strong. This is why so many people who walk faithfully for years still develop severe posture problems. They did everything they were told to do, and yet their upper body quietly weakened. Seated rows with a resistance band directly reverse this process. This movement targets the exact muscles responsible for holding your spine upright and your shoulders back. Sitting tall in a chair with your feet firmly planted, you loop a resistance band around your feet and hold the ends in your hands. As you pull the band toward your body, you draw your elbows back and squeeze your shoulder blades together. That squeezing action is the key. It retrains the muscles that counteract gravity all day long. When done slowly and with control, seated rows restore posture in a way that feels almost immediate. Many people notice that they sit taller after just a few sessions. Neck and shoulder tension begins to ease because the muscles are no longer overworking to compensate for weakness elsewhere. The spine feels more supported. And perhaps most importantly, your center of gravity shifts back where it belongs, directly over your feet. This alone can significantly improve balance and reduce the risk of falls. Walking does nothing for this. Zero. It does not pull. It does not strengthen the muscles that hold you upright. That's why resistance is essential. And resistance bands are ideal for this stage of life. They are gentle on joints, easy to adjust, and allow smooth, controlled movement. There is no jerking, no impact, no strain. Just steady tension that tells your body it needs to stay strong. When your posture improves, everything improves. Breathing becomes deeper and easier because your lungs have room to expand. Pain decreases because your muscles are working in harmony instead of fighting each other. Balance improves because your body is aligned the way it was designed to be. And confidence returns because you feel taller, steadier, and more capable. This is not about aesthetics. This is about function, safety, and dignity. And restoring your posture through simple seated pulling movements sets the stage for the most important movement of all, the one that ties everything together. If you only ever do one exercise for the rest of your life, it should be this. The sit to stand. Rising from a chair without using your hands is not just another movement to add to a routine. It is a direct reflection of how well your body is aging. In fact, it's so powerful that researchers use it as a predictor of survival. Large-scale studies following thousands of adults over many years have shown that people who cannot stand up independently are several times more likely to die in the years that follow. That statement can sound alarming, but it's not fear-mongering. It's data. And the reason behind it is simple. If your body can no longer lift itself against gravity, everything else begins to fail more quickly. The sit-to-stand movement is unique because it requires your entire lower body to work together as a coordinated system. Your quadriceps straighten your knees. Your glutes extend your hips. Your calves stabilize your ankles. Your core keeps you balanced. Your back holds your spine upright. No other single exercise activates so many essential muscles at once in such a functional way. This is not abstract strength that only shows up in a gym. This is real-world strength that shows up every single day. Getting out of bed in the morning, standing up from a chair, rising from the toilet, getting out of a car. You perform some version of this movement dozens of times a day, whether you realize it or not. When this movement becomes difficult, life quietly becomes harder. People start using their hands to push off. They avoid low chairs. They hesitate before standing. And with that hesitation comes fear. Fear of falling. Fear of being stuck. Fear of needing help. Practicing the sit-to-stand slowly and deliberately reverses this process. When you lower yourself under control instead of dropping into the chair, you force your muscles to resist gravity. This controlled lowering phase is where enormous strength gains occur. At the same time, your bones receive healthy stress signals that encourage them to stay dense and strong. This is one of the rare movements that improves muscle, balance, and bone health all at once. This is exactly why orthopedic surgeons prescribe sit-to-stand exercises both before and after joint replacement surgeries. Patients who can perform this movement well go into surgery stronger and recover faster afterward. Their muscles already know how to support the joint. Their balance is better. Their confidence is higher. In contrast, patients who struggle with this movement before surgery often face longer, harder recoveries. The movement itself becomes the training. The beauty of the sit-to-stand is its simplicity. You don't need equipment. You don't need a gym. You don't need long workouts. 15 minutes, 3 times per week, is enough to change the trajectory of your aging. You start seated in a sturdy chair. You place your feet firmly on the floor. You lean slightly forward and stand up slowly, letting your legs do the work. Then you lower yourself even slower, controlling the descent with your muscles instead of collapsing into the seat. That slow control is where independence is built. Within weeks, you notice small but powerful changes. Standing feels easier. Stairs feel less intimidating. You stop bracing yourself as much. Within months, your confidence returns. You trust your body again. And over years, you preserve the one thing that matters most as you age: independence. The ability to live life on your own terms, without constant fear of losing mobility. Walking still has its place. It supports your heart and keeps you moving. But walking alone is not the answer after 60. Strength is. And the most important strength of all is the strength to rise. The beautiful part is that it's never too late to start rebuilding it. If you've been told your whole life that walking was enough, you're not alone. Tell me in the comments which of these chair exercises surprised you the most and whether you plan to start today. Your future self will be grateful you did.